Joining us now to talk about the 2-0 Philadelphia Eagles, our man Adam Schefter joins us. Shefty, good morning. How are we today?
Gentlemen, what is going on today?
Well, there's a lot going on. And as you can imagine, comments made on Get Up Monday morning have been talked a lot about in the city of Philadelphia.
Were your ears burning?
Regarding the Tush push.
You know, I got to be honest with you. I really don't understand it. In no way was it a criticism at the Tush push. I actually am never one who has said I'm against it, I don't like it. I've never once said anything like that. All I was pointing out, as a matter of fact, is when they didn't kill the play in the offseason, that's when that game was won. That's what is anti-Tush push about that statement?
So I first want to ask, because for the record, when you joined us weekly, as you always do, throughout the offseason, throughout the spring, throughout the summer, we did the daily Tush push update, right? What have you been hearing?
Sure.
Are people going to vote for it? Are people going to vote to ban it? And then you did always give your opinion, and you said you would not want it banned because you would think it's wrong to ban a play that people just can't find a way to stop. I do want to ask, has your tone or your belief or your opinion on the play changed at all following the first 2 weeks of the regular season and, of course, the events that took place Sunday against the Chiefs? Your specific opinion.
Yeah, let me be very clear about how much my opinion on that Let me be very clear about how much my opinion on that play has changed. Absolutely zero. Okay? I've got zero problem with the play, for the record. Okay? When I said that game was won because it wasn't voted against in the spring, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's not an anti-Tush push play. I mean, I can't believe people are getting worked up about that.
All right, well, here's where I'm going to get you. Here's where I'm going to engage you. That's not a fact. That's not a fact. You know when that game was lost? The game was lost when Travis Kelce dropped a pass that became an interception that gave the Eagles the ball. The game was lost when Andy Reid made the decision to go for it on 4th and 1 from his own 36 that gave the Eagles a gimme field goal in the third quarter. The game was lost when Harrison Butker missed a field goal that would have been a 3-point. So that's when the game was lost.
Okay, so John, why the sensitivity then?
Because you just said it was a fact that the Eagles lost. You said the game was won on Get Up. You said the game was won because of the Tush push. That was not fact, and you just said it was fact again. It wasn't won because of the Tush push.
It was one of the factors involved in that game.
You didn't say that.
Stop that play. Oh, okay. Well, you know what, John? I'm not going to go into Get Up when I got 20 seconds. Well, they did this and they did that and they did this.
Well, weren't they bigger? Okay, were they bigger factors or were they less factors? Because I think Travis Kelce and that interception was a bigger factor in the Chiefs losing than the Tush push. Andy Reid twice going out of character was a bigger decision. Butker missing a field goal was a bigger than the Tush push, which accounted for 5 yards in the game.
John, fine. What does that have to do with my opinion on the Tush push? Again, people are mistaken. So I'm not giving the Eagles flowers for making other plays? Okay, good. They did make those plays. Again, bravo. Excellent. They won the game. Great job. Okay, but people feel cheated that I didn't salute them for stopping them on 4th and 1 or coming up with a big pick. I'm just talking about the Tush push and the ire it's raised across the league and across the country. People all worked up. I've never been one that's been worked up about it or against the play.
We absolutely have backed you on that. Andrew and I backed you on that completely. We made that point over and over again that you always were an advocate of it. But the thing is, Eagles fans. Wait a minute. Just tell you. Eagles fans, though, when they hear you say the game was won when the game was won when the push wasn't banned, when all those other plays are what won the game. That makes Eagles fans feel like you demeaned the win.
It's all part. I'm not trying to slight the win.
Okay.
So if you want me to apologize for slighting fans on the many ways that the Eagles played well that's fine. That I'll apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for my stance on the Tush push and me people thinking I'm anti. No, that's 100% wrong. If you're saying that I didn't give the Eagles flowers for the other plays they made, that's fine. No problem. I will own up to that and apologize for that. But in no way whatsoever was I taking a shot at the tush push or its viability or its sustainability or whatever it is. In no way. I was just making an observation that in my mind, when that play stayed in the game, when the Eagles are allowed to run that play as I feel they should have been, that to me is when that game swung. Are there other plays? Yes, of course. Did they make the plays when they had to? Yes, of course. So let me, in this spot, on this station, give my flowers to the Eagles for the big interception. It was big. The fourth down stop, it was big. And they went to, they're 2-0. Who cares that I said that about the tush push? People are very sensitive.
Now,
Wow.
Schefter, a follow-up to the comments that you made. There is a belief from a lot of people that if this were to come up again, because we don't know if it will try to be voted for or against this next offseason, and we will do more weekly check-ins with Adam Schefter about Tush Pushgate. A lot of people are going to say that the next way the league will try to get it banned is because of the officiating, the inability to officiate it, because it is hard to tell who's jumping off sides. Is it a false start? Was it the defense? Last year, it was player health and safety, the nonsense that was being brought up as to why it should be banned when there's zero data to back that up. Now there's a talking point. Dean Blandino straight up said it on the Fox broadcast that he's done with the tush push because it's hard to officiate. So do you believe that if this were to come up again for vote, would that be the driving force for Roger Goodell and many others who want the play banned?
I can't answer that. I don't know the answer. All I know is that there are any number of people who have wanted the play gone. And as I said on Monday Night Countdown, the Eagles successfully and rightfully lobbied for it to stay. They brought in Jason Kelsey and pointed out that there was no data, and they didn't believe that there was added injury risk. But as you know, the league often gets ultimately what it wants in the end. So we thought that the tush push was basically on the death watch last year, and I would say that my guess is it would still be the same this year because there are enough people that are against it, but I don't know how that's going to work out over the course of an off season. I don't know what directions it's going to go 2 weeks into the year when that's an issue that I would expect to come up in the spring again. There's a lot of time between September and March, so there's a lot that can change. There's a lot of discussions and talking points that will emerge. How that goes, I really couldn't answer right now. I really have no idea.
I'm trying to figure out, Adam, too, why is it what the league wants so much when they lost the vote of the franchise?
Here's the thing. Again, on the show Monday, my coworkers clearly against the play, don't like the play, and I just think that that's reflective of the way that a lot of people think. To me, it's a play, and if you can run that play successfully, you should be allowed to do it. What's the problem? Then other people do it, but they can't. So as I've said I don't have a problem with the play, but for whatever reason, it has touched a nerve in people as I've experienced myself this week, that people are very sensitive about that play. It's a very polarizing play. Sort of like Tom Brady in the booth.
Well, trust me, we're going to get to that because we have a question on that too. But I have one more tush push question for you. Do you believe that the league will try to officiate it differently the rest of the season? There was a moment in the Chargers game.
I don't think they know how to officiate it.
Right, but there was a moment in the Chargers game where they moved the lineman back. They stopped before the play was even snapped. The referees blew the whistle, and they realigned the offensive linemen. Do you think there will be an emphasis from the league to sort of look at how the teams are lined up before the snap itself?
I don't know. I would think, and I'm just guessing, and I got to make some calls, but I would think that there'll be some conversations that go out and alerts sent to officials like, hey, be aware of this, and let's not have this. But I don't know that. I'd have to ask around and get some clarity on that.
When you look at the landscape of what we've seen, we talk about the Tom Brady thing the other night. Do you personally believe that in your personal belief that is there a conflict of interest in Tom Brady being the lead analyst for Fox and being an owner of an NFL team with the access that he has?
Again, the perception is out there. The idea of it is out there. And it's hard to argue that people don't like it. Like, there are people that are turned off by it, and there are people across the league that are very leery and suspicious. I've gotten texts about it myself. Me personally, when he's doing his job, it's up to teams to deny him the access that makes them feel uncomfortable. If they're not comfortable with him in the production meetings, with him as the owner, then they can say, Tom, with all due respect, we don't want you in the meeting. Or then they don't share information. They don't share as much with Tom Brady and his crew. So I'm sure there are teams that take steps and they are concerned. But I don't think that Tom views it that way. And again, I said I'd like to think that he's going to be professional enough to handle it the right way. Somebody said, oh, yeah, just like they did with Spygate and Deflategate. So I can't argue that, too. So that's, I feel like, look, he's going to do the right thing. I'm not as bothered by it as other people are, but I understand why people are touchy and sensitive about it, and the perception is out there. That's real and undeniable because I've heard it. People have said it. We know how people are acting about it. I am not personally. I feel the same way about that I do with Tush Push. It doesn't bother me the way that it does other people. I don't get worked up about certain things like this. I know in the sport itself, people have very strong opinions. Those are things that don't really work up my anger and get me going. Like Tush Push, Tom Brady. There are different things that get me going. Those don't really do that.
All right, Schefter, last thing for you. Have you talked to anybody or even your own personal opinion about the way the Kansas City Chiefs have looked through the first 2 weeks of the season? I feel like every year we ask the question, is this the end of the Mahomes-Reed era, at least for a year? They haven't looked like themselves through the first 2 weeks.
No, they've been a flawed team. They have not looked right. They're 0-2. It's the first time they've ever been 0-2 since 2014. Patrick Mahomes never has lost 3 straight NFL games. Like, there are a whole bunch of stats. But, even we talked about this on Monday on Get Up, and Rex Ryan pointed out, you got Vic Fangio blitzing on Sunday. He didn't blitz in the Super Bowl, and he blitzed because, they don't think there's anybody that's going to beat them deep. They're not concerned about that because Xavier Worthy is out right now, and Rashee Rice is on suspension, and they don't have the weapons to beat teams. And I just feel like that air of invincibility that used to surround them it's not entirely gone, but it's certainly dented right now. And they're 0-2. And in a tough division and a tough conference, it's going to be very hard to get home field now. Not that it can't happen, it certainly can, but in all probability, they're going to have to go on the road to win in the playoffs if they make the playoffs. And I would think that Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid probably don't care about that. They're probably good with that. But the fact of the matter is there are challenges, and it's not going to be easy. And they're not the same team, but they're still a dangerous team.
Can I leave you with one thing, Schefter, about it? Having worked in that building in Bristol, as you have for so long and as Andrew now has started to, when the Patriots were riding high, I always felt like the shows like Get Up were more cheerleaders for the front-running team. When the Chiefs were riding high, I always felt like those shows always seemed like they were overly cheerleading for the front-running team. I think Eagles fans see it, and they see it almost seems like there's a concerted effort to be anti the Eagles. And I think there's if you watch the content, it does seem that way when you're trying to be objective about it. It does seem like there's almost a let's see if they can get this shut down. Yeah. And I think a lot of people feel that perception. Whether it's true or not, it's perception.
I think it's completely, I've never heard anybody like, let's cheer the Patriots, let's cheer the Chiefs, let's be more pro-positive, let's not give this team. I've never heard any of that. And honestly, John, they won the Super Bowl. They're defending Super Bowl champs. What do you need morning shows to cheer them for? I'm unaware of any kind of like, let's be careful about what we say about these.
No, I'm not saying that it's a concerted effort. I'm just saying it just is you're talking about perceptions. I believe it is, and consuming the content, I think that it would be easy for people to have that perception. That that they're more negative towards what the Eagles do.
It's not that I don't think that at all. I think that one play is such a polarizing play that you're interpreting any conversation there into negative thoughts about the Eagles that I don't believe are reality.
And that's fair. That's fair.
Shefty,
I respect you.
Listen, man. Thank you for coming on. As always, we appreciate it. And I know this was a little bit of a different hit than your normal weekly hit with us.
Great job.
But we appreciate the time today.
I've noticed like people. I'm like, I'm not against that play.
And we know you're not.
I'm not trying to beat up on. I made a simple observation that when that play survived, the Eagles became even better than they were. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not a shot in any way, and I can't believe. I'm surprised that people took it that way.
We're not. We know these people.
I think it was the perception of the analysis of the win. I think that was much more what it was. That's the reason they won the game.
Think about it like that.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't, and you clarified that, so that's good. That's good.
Shefty, we'll talk to you next week. We appreciate the time.
Good job,
as always.
Buddy. You got it, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, man.
There he is, Adam.
Thank you so much for checking out our content here on our YouTube channel. You know you can like and subscribe, and that way you're never going to miss anything that we've got going on right here at 97.5 The Fanatic.